bring light to me through faith. Nothing seems impossible if you believe, and you gotta believe, yes.
And I never ever doubt.
Never ever doubt it.
Every how I believe.
So you gotta believe in yourself.
'Cause I know I get my help.
When you can't depend on no one else.
I believe.
Hey.
I believe in the power, and I never ever doubt.
You gotta believe.
How I believe.
Oh, sister, you gotta believe.
I believe in myself.
Forever you gotta believe.
From the power in the sky, I believe.
So you will help, 'cause you help yourself. So you gotta believe that you got the power. So you gotta believe that every hour. Believe in yourself when you can't find no one else to believe. But you gotta believe. I believe. Hey, hey, somebody help me.
So good to believe. Let me say, I believe.
So good to
believe. Let me hear you say, I believe in the power, and I never ever doubt. Every hour, I believe. I believe in myself, 'cause I know I get my help. In the sky, I believe.
So you gotta encourage yourself.
And I never ever doubt.
When you can't depend on no one else.
I believe.
I believe.
In myself, 'cause I know I get my help.
Way
In the
over.
sky, I believe.
Come on, y'all. Come on. Where you at? Hey. Come on, y'all.
We are the drum, Africa to America. We are the drum. We are the drum. We are the drum, Africa to America. We are the drum. We are the drum. We are the drum, Africa to America. We are the drum. We are the drum. We are the drum, Africa to America. We are the drum. The rhythm in our heart is our freedom. We are the drum. The rhythm in our heart is our freedom. We are the drum. The rhythm in our heart is our freedom. Africa to America. The rhythm in our heart is our freedom. We are the drum. Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom. been hard to find your way.
Yeah.
In a world that seems to have come undone, seems to have come undone. And I know you've been looking for a change, almost convinced it will never come, never come. Sometimes in a place that is your dark, that is your dark, it's your dark. You begin to know just who you are, know who you are. You'll see all the strength you have inside. Sweep out the ashes in your soul. Find your fire, find your fire, find your fight, and hold up your light, hold up your light, hold up your light. Even when your step becomes a stumble, hold up your light, hold up your light. Waking up to so much uncertainty,
Oh, yeah.
so much uncertainty. And the world is crying.
The world is crying.
The world is crying out.
So the world is crying now.
And it seems that we've all been constantly searching.
Constantly searching.
Constantly searching.
Searching for some solid ground. Solid ground.
Sometimes in a place that is your dark.
Place that is your dark. You will know.
You begin to know just who you are. Know who you are. You'll see all the strength you have inside. Sweep out the ashes in your soul. Find your fire. Find your fire. Find your fire.
Find your fire.
Find your fire. And hold up your light. Hold up your light.
Hold up
your light. Even when your step becomes a stumble, hold up your light.
Hold up
Hold
your
up your
light.
Life can break us down. Life can break us down. Break our spirits and we fall.
Break our spirits and we fall.
Break our spirits and we fall.
Break our spirits and we fall. Yeah.
We fall, but we go on and we rise.
Hold up your light.
Hold up your light.
Find your fire.
Hold up your light. Hold up your light.
Yeah.
Hold up your light.
Hold up your light.
Hold up your light.
Oh, yeah.
Hold up your light.
Hold up your light. Hold up your light.
Diane here, host of the local show on The Current. And today in the studio, we have Sounds of Blackness with us. It's an honor to have y'all in the studio here. I want to say this is the first Current in studio. Is that correct? I think you've done one with NPR before, but this is the first time we've had you in for The Current specifically.
First in studio, yes. So thank you for having us.
Oh my gosh. And the performance was incredible. I was lit the whole time. I don't know why I like to use the word lit so much. But anyways, so I've been doing some studying on the Sounds of Blackness, and y'all have been around for 51 years, so there's a lot there. And there's so much I've found so much I could list off. For one, you know, some of the members now are offspring of past members.
Correct.
And you've performed in all major U.S. cities, won 3 Grammys, and here you are now today, and still making amazing music. And to start with, how does it feel?
I would say it feels amazing. And to address the first point, because we actually have at least 2 of our members right here who are offspring of original members.
Yep.
In fact, Lacey, and right behind you, Jamecia. Yeah, daughter of the great Ann Nesby and daughter of the great Joanne Johnson.
I know you've been labeled as a gospel group, but you're so much more than that. You're jazz, classical, pop, R&B, hip hop. It spans the sound of blackness, which is so rich and important to our culture, to American culture and beyond. And I would love to hear you talk more about that sound of blackness that y'all really embrace.
You did a very good job just a moment ago, Diane.
Thank you.
We couldn't call ourselves the Sounds of Blackness, and you're correct. We're often mislabeled as a gospel group. It's not offensive. It's just not correct. And so, you know, and I tell our church brothers and sisters, you know, you can't appreciate the glory, hallelujah, of the gospel without the pain of the blues and the history of the spirituals and the complexity of jazz. All of that is part of our testimony as a people from Africa to America. So none of our music, whether it's hip hop, bebop, rock, rock and roll, yes, is black music, none of it makes sense without Mother Africa, as Carlos Santana says. And so Sounds of Blackness sing the music from Africa to America.
It's so beautiful and it's so rich. And I can tell, though, that you all are definitely inspired and led by your faith, which also comes through. And tell me a little bit about how that really does inspire your music.
Absolutely. We are all children of God, and, you know, we don't attend the same worship, houses of worship, but all believers, and that's at the heart of what we do. Music is about spirit. We always say what comes from the heart reaches the heart, and they can tell you better than I, you know, what their faith means to them.
One of your musical heroes is the Duke Ellington.
At the top of the list.
I would love to hear you talk about the profound impact that Duke Ellington has on your legacy.
Absolutely. You know, when people ask about Sounds of Blackness origin and mentors, they, I'm sure, expect us to say, you know, Edwin Hawkins or Andre Crouch, great friends and contemporaries. But when I say that our musical mentor is Duke Ellington, a lot of people don't know, and I get it that they don't know. They hear Duke's name and they think of jazz, as we should. But what they don't know is that Duke wrote, recorded, and performed spirituals, gospel, anthems, hymns, African music, every sound of blackness. So we can't claim ownership of that repertoire, that template, doing the music of the culture. That goes back to the master, Duke Ellington.
Your knowledge of this, the way that you hear music and know it so instinctively, your leadership around music has led you to work with so many greats, Aretha Franklin, Stevie Wonder. Tell me about some of these, how these legends have influenced your work and what it's like being alongside some people that are such geniuses.
It's amazing. Prince was a 40-plus years friend and brother before any of us, the world, knew any of our names. Same for Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. And then some of the legends getting the honor of working with them, the late, great Luther Vandross. And again, right behind you, Jamecia and Carrie were on that tour. Half a year, we did the whole country. And just their influence, their spirit is amazing. To have met and work with them is just a great honor. and the late great Queen Aretha. And I was going to throw this to Jamecia because I know that Aretha is at or near the top of her list, along with Rosetta Tharpe, who she portrayed magnificently at Park Square Theater. So, Mies, do you want to talk about Aretha, Rosetta, just your favorite influences?
Sure. Aretha was definitely played in our home. My mother grew up in the age where the parents weren't in a home, so music actually taught them how to love, taught them about relationships. So I don't know how many relationships lasted, but that was definitely a stone in our home. So I grew up understanding the roots of music when it comes to Aretha, with the blues as well as R&B. And then when I had the opportunity to perform Rosetta Tharpe, to channel that, it opened me up to a whole new world of really where it came from, with Rosetta Tharpe being the godmother of rock and roll.
Yes.
And I didn't know that, but it was a blessing to be able to do that. She got inducted to the Hall of Fame, and people like Duke Ellington and Cab Calloway loved Rosetta Tharpe because she was the first one to play the steel guitar, and everyone thought it was, a male, but it was actually her. So it has definitely brought me to a place of understanding and loving the root of music more so than just music in itself.
That's, I think, one reason why this music's so profound is because life is filled with setbacks and adversity, loss, grief, all these things that are so human. And Sounds of Blackness takes on these really hard subjects with intention to lift people up in the face of these adversities. And I think it's powerful. I'd like to hear, Gary, you talk about this motivation that you have to really lift people up in this way.
Well, as so many members have said, Diane, it's God-inspired first and foremost.
Yep.
And ancestor fueled. I like to call it ancestor energy. Going back to Kizzy and Kunta Kinte, and others like them. Nothing that we do makes sense, as I said a moment ago, without Mother Africa. And so that ancestor energy to tell our testimony through music, it's been our survival mechanism. We're heirs to a legacy that the whole world marvels at, and really the whole world tries to emulate. But it's something that God has blessed us with uniquely, and Sounds of Blackness seek to embody it, all of it, and as Bridget said, uplift all people through black music. So our name might sound like, no, we're just for black folks. No, I'm glad Bridget brought that out. So right in our number one goal is to glorify God by uplifting people of all backgrounds through all of black music. And so, like I said, it's God-inspired, ancestor energy fueled, and then maintained by the magnificent group of young men and women standing behind you, and the ones that were on the track, our band. We can't forget them.
Absolutely. And the last time we spoke, I interviewed you about Time for Reparations, your single that you put out recently, and is it in conjunction with Juneteenth. And racial injustice is still a problem in our society, and with the murder of George Floyd, it really kind of reawakened just how, because it seems like we've progressed, but also it's just like, oh, and then at the same time, it's like, it feels like it's just as bad as it's ever been. What would you say are some of the things that our society needs to work on in the realm of racial justice?
The first step for me, Diane, is just like with AA, with any addiction, and he said the first thing is to acknowledge it. America in general seems to have a problem just taking that first step and acknowledging.
Yes.
So that's why reparations are such an issue, when they've never been for other people, other wronged groups, but it is when it comes to us, when it comes to banning books about our history, when it comes to not wanting to teach our history that already hasn't been taught.
Right.
So it's imperative that we drive that music home through the magic and the spirit of music, because music can reach the heart where nothing else can.